My golden child sister stole my wife's earrings, and my parents refused to do anything about it because she's a grown woman. Now she's learning her lesson the hard way. My parents heavily favored my sister because she was the miracle baby that survived after my mother's 2 miscarriages. When we were younger, she stole my belongings with no repercussions, treated me like dirt, and embarrassed me in front of my friends. This caused a huge rift in between us, so I went no contact the second I turned 18. In college, I met Cindy, and I had the biggest crush on her, so I asked her out, and she agreed on a date. Now here we are 7 years later, happily married. Cindy knows about my past with family, and was reluctant to form a connection with them when they reached out a year ago. I was skeptical too, but I gave my family a second chance. Their last text was asking me if they could come over during the holidays to meet Cindy. Cindy was against it, but through pure stubbornness, I convinced her it was okay, and she gave in. When my parents arrived, we caught up on mom and dad's business, my sister's college studies, and so on. It seemed like they had changed their act, and they even apologized for their actions. But there was one point in the dinner where my sister insulted Cindy, but Cindy quickly put her in her place. My sister tried to argue, but I shut her down too. She looked to our parents for help, who stayed silent, and my sister was visibly shocked that they weren't coming to her aid immediately like they always did. 10 minutes later, my sister excused herself to go to the bathroom and came down 3 minutes later. The rest of the dinner went well, and we said our goodbyes. It was clear that while my parents had changed, my sister was still a spoiled brat. After dinner, my wife went to our room, and I suddenly heard her frantically making noise. I heard the bed being banged against the wall, drawers slamming open and shut, and her yelling, "Where are they?" I went upstairs, and my wife told me her earrings were missing. For context, my wife owns a pair of earrings that are very old, are passed down for 4 generations, and are priceless to her, as well as valued very high in the market. Well, these earrings were missing. We turned the house upside down, but didn't find them. With no luck, my wife asked me if my sister took them. That's when I realized that after getting angry that Cindy shut down her insults, she went upstairs, and with my wife's earrings being on the nightstand, she could have easily taken them. My sister was also a kleptomaniac, and my parents always enabled her. My wife flipped out at me, yelling at me for inviting someone I knew was a kleptomaniac into our home and not informing her of it. She stated she knew she would have never allowed my sister to come over. I realized I had effed up very badly and rushed to call my parents and demanded I speak to my sister. I accused her of stealing my wife's earrings, and she laughed, saying, "Maybe I did, maybe I didn't." Meanwhile, my parents said that although they sympathized with my wife, my sister was a grown woman and they could not force her to do anything. They also told me I had no proof, and although that was true, everyone under the sun knew she had stolen it. I knew I had to threaten them if I wanted things to go my way. I told them there would be an anonymous tip given about their business if their daughter didn't give my wife her earrings. To understand the brilliance of this plan, you need to know that their business was very shady, taxes were avoided, and was a fake charity that looked legit on the outside. It was a miracle nobody had reported them for it yet. My parents crapped themselves so much that they drove for 5 hours with my sister the next day to give me back those earrings, but I wasn't done. I didn't inform anyone of the business, but I texted the extended family group chat and told them what my sister did, what my parents did, and warned them all to never let my sister into their homes again, or there was a good chance that their belongings would also be stolen. My parents have contacted me asking to come over and talk without my sister, and asked me to tell everyone I was just joking and my sister wouldn't do that, but I refused to. I told them they had their chance to make amends with me, and instead they decided to believe my sister for the millionth time, so I was done with them. I blocked them on all my socials, and now they're blocked from my life.